Imagine for a moment that you wake up on a Tuesday morning and notice a large puddle on your kitchen floor. The water heater has finally given out, and the plumber tells you it will cost exactly $1,000 to replace it today. Or perhaps you are driving to work and your car makes a loud grinding noise. The mechanic says the repair is $1,000, or you are not going anywhere. For most people listening to this, a $1,000 emergency feels like a stressful event. But for more than half of the people walking down the street next to you, it is not just stressful, it is impossible. According to the latest data in this year of 2026, 56% of American adults cannot afford a $1,000 emergency expense from their savings. Think about that for a second. We live in the wealthiest nation in history, yet more than half of us are one broken appliance or one flat tire away from financial disaster. If you are feeling a sense of unease about your bank account or your future, I want you to know that you are not alone. The statistics we are seeing right now are not just numbers on a page. They are a reflection of a systemic trap that has been tightening for decades. You were told to work hard, save a little, and everything would be fine. But the rules of the game changed while you were busy working. Today, we are going to look into the mirror of our current economy and face the brutal facts that the mainstream media often ignores. We are going to talk about why the dream of a comfortable retirement is slipping away for millions and what you can do to reclaim your control. Because the truth is, quality of life in your golden years is no longer about how hard you worked. It is about how well you understand the new reality. For decades, the phrase $1 million was the ultimate gold standard for financial success. If you had $1 million, you were set for life. You could live off the interest, travel the world, and never worry about a bill again. But in 2026, we have to face a very cold truth. $1 million is the new zero. Due to the silent theft of inflation, $1 million today has the same purchasing power that $450,000 had back in the 1990s. If you retire today with $1 million in a standard savings account, the rising cost of eggs, milk, and healthcare will eat that balance faster than you can imagine. For many of you in your late 50s or early 60s, you might have around $200,000 saved. That is the median retirement balance for households approaching retirement age right now. On paper, $200,000 sounds like a lot of money. But if we apply the safe withdrawal rate of 4%, that only gives you $8,000 a year. That is less than $700 a month. How many of you can pay your property taxes, your insurance, and your groceries on $700 a month? The answer is almost no one. This is what we call the retirement gap. It is the massive canyon between what we think we need and what we actually have when the paychecks stop coming. And while you were trying to save, the cost of living was sprinting ahead of you. In the last few years, skyrocketing prices for basic necessities have forced nearly 2/3 of Americans to save less than they planned. We are being squeezed from every direction. But it is not just the cost of things that is the problem. It is the weight of what we owe. As of early 2026, total personal debt in the United States has reached a staggering $17.5 trillion. The average American household is carrying over $132,000 in total debt. Much of this is tied up in mortgages, which is understandable. But the real silent killer is credit card debt. Total credit card has officially crossed the $1.14 trillion mark. And here's the part that should make your blood boil. The average interest rate on those cards is now 22%. If you carry a balance of just $6,000 at 22% interest, you are paying over $1,300 a year just for the privilege of owing money. That is money that could have gone into your retirement fund or your emergency savings. Instead, it is flowing directly into the pockets of banking executives. This is why 56% of people cannot afford that $1,000 emergency. Their income is being cannibalized by high-interest debt before it even hits their bank account. And it is not just the young generation struggling. There is a growing group of retirees who are entering their 60s still carrying student loan debt. Over 2 million borrowers aged 62 and older owe a combined $98 billion in federal student loans. Imagine working for 40 years only to have the government garnish your Social Security check to pay for a degree you got 4 decades ago. This is the reality of the 2026 economy. It is a world where debt follows you to the finish line. But there is another kind of debt that no one likes to talk about. It is a debt of trust. Recent studies show that 2 out of every 5 Americans have committed what we call financial infidelity. This means they are hiding purchases, secret credit cards, or hidden bank accounts from their partners. Why is this happening? Because the pressure to look successful is higher than ever. We see people on social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook living lifestyles that they cannot actually afford. We see the new cars, the expensive vacations, and the designer clothes. And even at our age, we feel the need to keep up. 28% of young adults admit they post photos that make them look wealthier than they are. But this pressure filters up to everyone. We spend money we do not have to buy things we do not need, to impress people we do not even like. This financial secrecy is straining marriages and destroying the very foundation of the American family. Money is no longer just a medium of exchange. It has become a source of shame and ego. We have to stop pretending that everything is fine while we are drowning in private. If you are earning $100,000 a year and still living paycheck to paycheck, you are not alone. 1 in 4 people at that income level feels exactly the same way. The problem is often not the income. It is the lifestyle creep and the invisible costs. Healthcare alone for a family of 4 now averages over $24,000 a year. If you have an employer-sponsored plan, you are likely paying over $6,000 of that out of your own pocket. Premiums and deductibles have climbed so high that many people are afraid to even go to the doctor. This is the brutal mirror I promised you. It is a picture of a nation that is working harder than ever, but falling further behind. So, where do we go from here? Is it all doom and gloom? The answer is no. But the solution requires a complete shift in how you think about wealth. The first step to taking back your power is to stop focusing on net worth and start focusing on cash flow. Net worth is what you own on paper. Your house might be worth $800,000, but you cannot eat your kitchen cabinets. You cannot pay the electric bill with your drywall. Wealth is not about what you have. It is about what your assets produce for you every single month. Think about the 3 tipping points of wealth building. The first tipping point is when your investments earn more in a year than you contribute. If you are putting $500 a month into the market and your portfolio grows by more than $6,000 in a year, you have reached the first level of momentum. The second tipping point is when your investments earn as much as your actual job pays. Imagine your portfolio growing by $50,000 a year while you earn $50,000 at work. You have effectively cloned yourself. You have a second version of you working 24 hours a day without needing a coffee break or a vacation. The third tipping point is when your portfolio can support your entire lifestyle through a safe withdrawal rate. This is true financial independence. To get there in this economy, you have to be willing to do what others will not. You have to look at your spending with surgical precision. Look at the things that are simply not worth it anymore. Fast food prices have risen so much that a combo meal now costs as much as a sit-down restaurant used to. Branded clothing and the newest tech gadgets are often just traps to drain your liquidity. If you can eliminate the trash expenses, you can feed the machine that will eventually set you free. Another critical strategy for those of us nearing retirement is understanding the timing of Social Security. The average benefit is about $1,900 a month. If you start at 62, you get much less. If you can find a way to work part-time or live off other savings and delay until age 70, your benefit increases significantly. In a world where inflation is high, a guaranteed inflation-adjusted check from the government is one of the most valuable assets you can have. We also have to rethink housing. Housing is the largest expense for almost everyone, taking up 36% of the average retired household budget. If you can pay off your mortgage or downsize to a more efficient home, you dramatically lower the bar for how much income you need to survive. Some people are even exploring house hacking or renting out a room to generate extra cash flow. It might sound unconventional, but in 2026, unconventional is the only way to stay ahead. The goal is to reach a place where your money is doing the heavy lifting. Compound interest is slow at first, like pushing a boulder up a hill. But once you cross that first $100,000, the math starts to change. At $200,000, a 10% market gain is $20,000. That is more than many people save in 3 years of hard work. Wealth does not grow in a straight line. It bends upward. But most people quit during the flat part of the curve. They quit just before the magic happens. I want to leave you with a thought that is very personal for many of us. We often worry about what we will leave behind for our children. We want to leave them an inheritance or a house. But the greatest gift you can ever give your children is your own financial independence. Your children do not want your money as much as they want to know that you are okay. They do not want to see you struggle. And they certainly do not want you to become a financial burden on them in their own prime working years. By taking control of your finances now, by facing these brutal statistics and making the hard choices today, you are protecting them as much as you are protecting yourself. Being a millionaire in 2026 might not mean you are rich, but it means you are safe. And in an uncertain world, safety is the greatest luxury there is. So look at your numbers. Face the truth. about your debt.
Stop trying to impress people who do not matter.
And start building a foundation that can withstand the storms of the future. You have worked too hard for too long to let the system take your peace of mind. It is time to take it back. The first million might be the hardest, but the first step is the most important. Start today, because the future you are worried about is already here. Thank you for listening and for being willing to look at the reality of our world. If this conversation gave you a new perspective, please share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. And as always, stay focused, stay disciplined, and keep building. I will see you in the next one.